All right, we are live here. We are live here on YouTube. Welcome in welcome to another video. Welcome to another video. So guys, let me show y'all the challenge that I'm doing again. I know I don't like to show it every time, but so this is the challenge that I've been doing for the last 10 days or so. So today's the 29th, and we are on 1 Samuel 3 to 25. It's Thursday today. So that is our reading today. It's about 23 chapters, 22 chapters or so. But we're taking out a big chunk in Samuel here. We're going to be reading a good chunk of Samuel. So yeah, so that is that. And I guess that's really all. That's really all I have right now. Sharing that. So that's really all I have, which is super duper cool. I'm gonna chill a little bit. Actually, let's go to our reading today. Lord, kill me if I don't preach the gospel. Still in my 20s, but I die if I got it. And forget my flesh. It's a full court press. Let the Lord don't use me. Thinking everything's groovy. Then I be no more. Partner, I don't wanna see no more. Worry about a bruising. Sees a real persecution. Would your life look the same? Can they tell you by the Jesus, by the way you rep his name? Man, what's the point of living if I'm living for myself? Lord, empty out my life before I put you on the shelf. So for God I go hard. I don't wanna die tonight, but there's too many people living who ain't heard about the Christ. Went to Asia, had it Dunkin' High for sharing my faith. They tell me water it down when I get back to the States. They say tone the music down, you might sell a lot of records, but it's people out here dying and none of them heard the message. Took my wifey on a mission trip in Central America. Shared her testimony, 40 people stood and stared at her. When she said Jesus should have seen it was insane, cause 40 out of 40 never heard of Jesus' name. Oh man, we ain't focused on the war, we just kicking it. Way about our image and our space up on the internet. Take me at the game, coach. I don't wanna play no more. If I can't give it all I got, then leave it out there on the court. Thank you for the grace, for the will and the desire. Got me living for your glory instead of living to retire. But I pray I never tire. I'm going home, Messiah. I don't need a motivation. You the reason I'm inspired. All right, let's get into this. Let's get into. Okay. Let's start by reading 1 Samuel chapter 4. 1 Samuel chapter 4. Wait, I wonder if there's another Bible reading. Not Bible reading plan, just Bible. No, not Bible reading generator, just Bible reading. I wonder if there's a just Bible. This Bible reading. I wonder if there's another There's the online. Should we try that? No, not the King James. That'll take me forever to read. Let me. I'm trying to figure out if I could. If there's another. If I let. There's another link I could go to. There's another Bible reading online. Let's just search up that. Well, we don't want just King James, right? We don't want just King James. Let's do the Bible tool. Well, that actually. Let's go to. Um, oh my goodness. Yeah, this has a bunch of stupid stuff. Man, when these like when you go into these links and there's like 20 ads and like jumping at you, it gets super annoying. Let's go to. I mean, it's bruh. Like this is what I'm talking about. Not this time. This is literally what I'm talking about. I mean, is there a way we can expand this though? I'm trying to expand it so it's bigger. And we want the ESV. Hey, I've been reading through the ESV. So, ESV. Bruh. These ads are going crazy on me. These ads are going absolutely crazy on me. Holy moly. No. Log in. Oh, it says, we understand you're not here for the ads, but here's the thing. Ads help us keep the lights on and pay our staff to provide the Christian content you enjoy. We kindly ask that you click below to restore ads on your site. We appreciate it. All right, let's get out of that link then. That's a little too much ads for me. All right, let's just continue here. Let's just continue here, right? Bible Gateway is probably one of the best. It's got a bunch of tools. You can read in multiple versions. You can read multiple books, and there's a bunch of study guides up here, study tools. You can listen probably to audio on here. Actually, let me search up. Hold on. Let me actually search up the Blue Letter Bible. The blue. I can't spell blue, I guess. Blue Letter Bible online. Because we don't want to get the app. Here's the Blue Letter Bible. That might actually be better. We want the ESV. And I don't know if you can just like. Oh man, the Blue Letter Bible has a bunch. I'm trying to just find a. Actually, we'll just read from Gateway. Gateway is good. Gateway does the job. I don't know why I'm bickering about finding other stuff, but Gateway works just fine. So Gateway Bible Gateway, other way around. Okay. No, we don't want that. Because I was trying to expand like this whole. No. Oh, you can do cross reference. That would be kind of cool. And here you can do like listen to it. All right, let's just get to Samuel. I'm taking way too long. All right, Samuel chapter 4. Now the Israelites went out to fight against the Philistines. The Israelites camped at Ebenezer, and the Philistines at Aphek. The Philistines deployed their forces to meet Israel And as the battle spread, Israel was defeated by the Philistines, who killed about 4,000 of them on the battlefield. When the soldiers returned to camp, the elders of Israel said, "Why did the Lord bring defeat on us today before the Philistines?" They got defeated by the Philistines. "Let us bring the ark of the Lord's covenant from Shiloh so that he may go with us and save us from the hand of our enemies." So the people sent men to Shiloh, and they brought back the ark of the covenant of the Lord Almighty, who is enthroned between the cherubim. And Eli's two sons, Hophni and Phinehas, were there with the ark of the covenant. When the ark of the Lord When the ark of the Lord's covenant came into the camp, all Israel uproar. The Philistines asked, "What's all this shouting in the Hebrew camp?" When they learned that the ark of the Lord had come into the camp, the Philistines were afraid. "A god has come into the camp." They say, "Oh no, nothing like this has happened before. We're doomed. Who will deliver us from the hand of these mighty gods? They are the gods who struck the Egyptians with all kinds of plagues in the wilderness. Be strong, Philistines. Be men, or you will be subject to the Hebrews as they have been to you. Be men and fight." So they're encouraging each other. So the Philistines fought, and the Israelites were defeated. And every man fled to his tent. The slaughter was very great. Israel lost 30,000 foot soldiers. The ark of God was captured, and Eli's two sons, Hophni and Phinehas, died. So they thought by bringing the ark, they was going to give them like a fortune or give them an extra boost since they lost earlier. That same day, a Benjaminite ran from the battle line and went to Shiloh with his clothes torn and dust on his head. When he arrived, there was Eli sitting on his chair by the side of the road, watching, because his heart feared for the ark of God. When the man entered the town and told what had happened, the whole town sent up a cry. Eli heard the outcry and asked, "What is the meaning of this uproar?" The man hurried over to Eli, who is 98 years old and whose eyes had failed so that he could not see. He told Eli, "I have come from the battle line. I fled from this very day." Eli asked, "What happened, my son?" The man who brought the news replied, "Israel fled before the Philistines and was suffered heavy losses. Also, your two sons, Hophni and Phinehas, are dead, and the ark of God has been captured." When he mentioned the ark of God, Eli fell backward off his chair by the side of the gate. His neck was broken, and he died. For he was an old man. He was heavy. He had led Israel 40 years. His daughter-in-law, the wife of Phinehas, was pregnant and near the time of delivery. When she heard the news that the ark of God had been captured and that her father-in-law and her husband were dead, she went into labor and gave birth, but was overcome by her labor pains. As she was dying, the woman attended her and said, "Don't despair. You have given birth to a son." But she did not respond or pay any attention. She named the boy Ichabod, saying, "The glory has departed from Israel because of the capture of the ark and the death of her father-in-law and her husband." She said, Glory has departed from Israel, for the ark of God has been captured." Okay. 1 Samuel chapter 5. And after the Philistines had captured the ark of God, they took it from Ebenezer to Ashdod. Uh, 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 uh. Um, where was I? Yeah, Ashdod. And they carried the ark into Dagon's temple and set it beside Dagon. When the people of Ashdod rose early in the next morning, there was Dagon fallen on his face on the ground before the ark of the Lord. They took Dagon and put him back in his place. But the following morning, when they rose, there was Dagon fallen on his face on the ground before the ark of the Lord. His head and hands had been broken off and were lying on the thresh floor. Only his body remained. That is why to this day neither the priests of Dagon nor any others who enter Dagon's temple at Ashdod step on the threshold. Um, The Lord's hand was heavy on the people of Ashdod and its vicinity. He brought devastation on them and afflicted them with tumors. When the people of Ashdod saw what was happening, they said, "The ark of God of Israel must not stay here with us, because his hand is heavy on us and on Dagon our God." So they called together all the rulers of the Philistines and asked them, "What shall we do with the ark of the God of Israel?" They answered, "Have the ark of God of Israel moved to Gath." So they moved the ark of the God of Israel. But after they moved it, the Lord's hand was against that city, throwing it into a great panic. He afflicted the people of the city, both young and old, with an outbreak of tumors. So they sent the ark of God to Ekron. So they're just passing around the Ark of the Covenant, or the Ark of the Covenant. As the ark of God was entering Ekron, the people of Ekron cried out, "They have brought the ark of God of Israel around us to kill us and our people." So they called together all the rulers of the Philistines and said, Send the ark of God of Israel away. Let it go back to its own place, or it will kill us and our people. For death had filled the city with panic. God's hand was very heavy on it. Those who did not die were afflicted with tumors, and the outcry of the city went up to heaven. So the Ark of the Covenant is not being a good fortune to these various towns. Chapter 6. When the ark of the Lord had been in the Philistines' territory 7 months, the Philistines called for the priests and the diviners and said, "What shall we do with the ark of the Lord? Tell us how we should send it back to its place." They answered, "If you return the ark of God of Israel, do not send it back to them without a gift. By all means, send a guilt offering to him. Then you shall be healed, and you will know why his hand has not been lifted from you." The Philistines asked, "What guilt offering should we send to him?" They replied, 5 gold tumors and 5 gold rats, according to the numbers of the Philistines' rulers, because the same plague has struck both you and your rulers. Make models of the tumors and of the rats that are destroying the country, and give glory to Israel's God. Perhaps he will lift his hand from you and your gods in your land. Why do you harden your hearts as the Egyptians and the Pharaoh did? When Israel's God dealt harshly with them, did they not send the Israelites so they could go on their way? Now then, get a new cart ready with 2 cows that have calved and have never been yoked. Hitch the cows to the cart, but take their calves away and pen them up. Take the ark of the Lord and put it on the cart and in a chest beside it. Put the gold objects you are sending back to him as a gift offering. Send it on its way, but keep watching it. If it goes up to its own territory toward Beth Shemesh, then the Lord has brought this great disaster on us. But if it does not, then we will know that it was not his hand that struck us, but that it happened to us by chance. So they did this. They took 2 such cows and hitched them to the cart, penned them their calves. Um, they placed the ark of the Lord on the cart along with it the chest containing the gold rats and the models of the tumors. When the cows went straight up toward Beth Shemesh, keeping on the road, lowing all the way, they did not turn to the right or to the left. The rulers of the Philistines followed them as far as the border of Beth Shemesh. Now the people of Beth Shemesh were harvesting their wheat in the valley, and when they looked up and saw the ark, they rejoiced at the sight. The cart came to the field of Joshua of Beth Shemesh, and there it stopped beside the large rock. The people chopped up the wood of the cart and sacrificed the cow as a burnt offering to the Lord. The Levites took down the ark of the Lord, together with the chest containing the gold objects, and placed them on the large rock. On that day, the people of Beth Shemesh offered burnt offerings and made sacrifices to the Lord. The rulers of the Philistines saw all this and then returned that same day to Ekron. These are the gold tumors the Philistines sent as guilt offerings to the Lord, one each for Ashdod, Gaza, Ashkelon, Gath, and Ekron. And the number of the gold rats was according to the numbers of Philistine towns belonging to the 5 rulers, the 45 fortified towns and their country villages. The large rock on which the Levites set the ark of the Lord is a witness to this day in the field of Joshua of Beth Shemesh. But God struck down some of the inhabitants of Beth Shemesh, putting 70 of them to death because they looked into the ark of the Lord. The people mourned because of the heavy blow the Lord had dealt them, and the people of Beth Shemesh asked, "Who can stand in the presence of the Lord, this holy God? To whom will the ark go up from here?" Then they sent messengers to the people of Kiriath Jearim, saying, "The Philistines have turned the ark of the Lord. Come down and take it up to your own." So, so yeah, the Ark of the Covenant is doing some damage to these little towns of people because they're mishandling it. They're putting it next to another god, and God's just showing his power. Chapter 7 of Samuel. So the men of Kiriath Jearim came and took up the ark of the Lord. They brought it to Abinadab's house on the hill and consecrated Eleazar his son to guard the ark of the Lord. The ark remained at Kiriath Jearim a long time, 20 years in all. That is a long time. Then all the people of Israel turned back to the Lord. So Samuel said to all the Israelites, if you are returning to the Lord with all your heart, then rid yourselves of the foreign gods and the Ashtoreths, and commit yourselves to the Lord and serve him only, and he will deliver you out of the hands of the Philistines. So the Israelites put away their Baals and Ashtoreths and served the Lord only. Then Samuel said, assemble all Israel at Mizpah, and I will intercede with the Lord for you. When they had assembled at Mizpah, they drew water and poured it out before the Lord. On that day they fasted, and there they confessed, we have sinned against the Lord. Now Samuel was serving as leader of Israel at Mizpah. When the Philistines heard that Israel had assembled at Mizpah, the rulers of the Philistines came up to attack them. When the Israelites heard of it, they were afraid because of the Philistines. They said to Samuel, do not stop crying out to the Lord our God for us, that he may rescue us from the hand of the Philistines. Then Samuel took a suckling lamb and sacrificed it as a whole burnt offering to the Lord. He cried out to the Lord on Israel's behalf, and the Lord answered. While Samuel was sacrificing the burnt offering, the Philistines drew near to engage Israel in battle. But that day the Lord thundered with loud thunder against the Philistines and threw them into such a panic that they were routed before the Israelites. The men of Israel rushed out of Mizpah and pursued the Philistines, slaughtering them along the way to a point below Beth Kar. Then Samuel took a stone and set it up between Mizpah and Shen, and he named it Ebenezer, saying, thus far the Lord has helped us. So the Philistines were subdued, and they stopped invading Israel's territory throughout Samuel's lifetime. The hand of the Lord was against the Philistines. The towns from Ekron to Gath that the Philistines had captured from Israel were restored to Israel, and Israel delivered the neighboring territory from the hands of the Philistines, and there was peace between Israel and the Amorites. Samuel continued as Israel's leader all the days of his life. From year to year, he went on a circuit from Bethel to Gilgal to Mizpah, judging Israel in all those places. But he always went back to Ramah, where his home was, and there he also held court for Israel, and he built an altar there to the Lord. So that is chapter 7 of 1 Samuel. When Samuel grew old, he appointed his sons as Israel's leaders. The name of his firstborn was Joel, and the name of his second was Abijah, and they served at Beersheba. But his sons did not follow his ways. They turned aside after dishonest gain and accepted bribes and perverted justice. So they were judges, and yeah. So all the elders of the Israel gathered together and came to Samuel at Ramah. They said to him, you are old, your sons do not follow your ways. Now appoint a king to lead us, such as all the other natives have. But when they said, give us a king to lead us, this displeased Samuel. So he prayed to the Lord, and the Lord told him, listen to all the people. Listen to all that the people are saying to you. It is not that you have rejected, but they have rejected me as their king, as they have done from the day I brought them out of Egypt until this day, forsaking me and serving other gods, so they are doing to you. Now listen to them, but warn them solemnly, and let them know what the king will reign over them will claim as his rights. So Samuel told all the words of the Lord to the people who were asking him for a king. He said, this is what the king who will reign over you will claim as his rights. He will take your sons and make them serve with his chariots and horses. They will run in front of his chariots. Some he will assign to be commanders of thousands and commanders of fifties, and others to plow his ground and reap his harvest, and still others to make weapons of war and equipment for his chariots. He will take your daughters to be perfumers and cooks and bakers. He will take the best of your fields and vineyards and olive groves and give them to his attendants. He will take a tenth of your grain and of your vintage and give it to his officials and attendants, your male and female servants, and the best of your cattle, the donkey, he will make his own use. He will take a tenth of your flocks, and you yourselves will become his slaves. When that day comes, you will cry out for relief from the king you have chosen, but the Lord will not answer you in that day. But the people refused to listen to Samuel. No, they said, we want a king over us. Then we will be like all the other nations, with a king to lead us and to go out before us and fight our battles. When Samuel heard all that the people said, he repeated it before the Lord, and the Lord answered, listen to them, give them a king. Then Samuel said to the Israelites, everyone go back to your own town. a king like their fellow neighbors, fellow neighboring countries, our nations. First Samuel 10. There was a Benjaminite, a man of standing whose name was Kish, son of Abel, the son of Zeror, son of Bechorath, son of Aphiah of Benjamin. Kish had a son named Saul, as handsome a young man as could be found anywhere in Israel, and he was a head taller than anyone else. So Samuel was that guy, I guess. Now the donkeys belonging to Saul's father Kish were lost. And Kish said to his son Saul, take one of the servants with you and go look for the donkeys. So he passed through the hill country of Ephraim and through the area around Shalisha, but they did not find them. They went out into the district of Shalim, but the donkeys were not there. Then he passed through the territory of of Benjamin, but they did not find them. When they reached the district of Zuph, Saul says to his servants who was with him, come, let us go back, or my father will stop thinking about the donkeys and start worrying about us. But the servants replied, look, in this town there is a man of God. He is highly respected, and everything he says comes true. Let's go there now. Perhaps he will tell us what way to take. Saul said to his servants, we will go. What can we give the man? The food in our sacks is gone. We have no gift to take to the man of God. What do we have? The servants answered him again, look, he said, I have a quarter of a shekel of silver. I will give it to the man of God so that he will tell us what way to take. Formerly in Israel, if someone went to inquire of God, they would say, come, let us go to the seer, because the prophet of today used to be called a seer. Good, Saul said to his servants, come, let's go. So they set out for the town where the man of God was. As they were going up the hill to the town, they met some young women coming out to draw water, and they asked them, is the seer here? He said, they answered, he's ahead of you. Hurry now. He just came to our town today, for the people have sacrificed at the high place. As soon as you enter the town, you will find him before he goes up to the high place to eat. The people will not begin eating until he comes, because he must bless the sacrifice. Afterwards, those who are invited will eat. Go up now. You should find him about this time. So they went up to the town, and as they were entering it, there is Samuel coming toward them on his way up to the high place. Now the day before Saul came, the Lord had revealed this to Samuel. About this time tomorrow, I will send you a man from the land of Benjamin, anoint him ruler over my people Israel. He will deliver them from the hand of the Philistines. I have looked on my people, for their cry has reached me. When Samuel caught sight of Saul, the Lord said to him, this is the man I spoke to you about. He will govern my people. Saul approached Samuel in the gateway and asked, would you please tell me where the seer's house is? I'm the seer, Samuel in the gateway. Wait, I am the seer, Samuel replied. Go up ahead of me to the high place, for today you are to eat with me, and in the morning I will send you on your way and will tell you all that is in your heart. As for the donkeys you lost 3 days ago, do not worry about them. They have been found, and to whom is all the desire of Israel turned? If not to you and your whole family line? Oh, and to whom is all the desire of Israel turned? And if not to you and your whole family line? Saul answered, but am I not a Benjamite from the smallest tribe of Israel? Is not my clan the least of all the clans of the tribe of Benjamin? Why do you say such a thing to me? Then Samuel brought Saul and the servants into the hall and seated them at the head of those who were invited, about 30 in number. Samuel said to the cook, bring the piece of meat I gave you and the one I told you to lay aside. So the cook took up the thigh that was on it and set it in front of Saul. And Samuel said, here's what has been kept for you. Eat, because it was set aside for you for this occasion from the time I said, I have invited guests. And Saul dined with Samuel that day. After they came down from the high place to the town, Samuel talked with Saul on the roof of his house. They rose about daybreak, and Samuel called to Saul on the roof, get ready, and I will send you on your way. When Saul got ready, he and Samuel went outside together. As they were going down to the edge of the town, Samuel said to Saul, tell me the servant to go on ahead of us. And the servant did so. But you stay here for a while, so that I may give you a message from God. So Saul, um, then Samuel took a flask of olive oil and poured it on Saul's head and kissed him and saying, "He is not the Lord. Wait, has not the Lord anointed you over? Has the Lord Has not the Lord anointed you ruler over his inheritance? When you leave me today, you will meet two men near Rachel's tomb at Zelzah on the border of Benjamin. They will say to you, 'The donkey you set out to look for have been found, and now your father has stopped thinking about them, and he's worried about you. He is asking, what shall I do about my son?'" So the father has stopped thinking about them and is worried about you. "Then you will go on from there until you reach the gate tree of Tabor. Three men going up to worship God at Bethel will meet you there. One will be carrying 3 young goats, and another 3 loaves of bread, and another a skin of wine. They will greet you and offer you 2 loaves of bread, which you will accept from them. After that, you will go to Gibeah of God, where there is a Philistine outpost. As you approach the town, you will meet a procession of prophets coming down from the high places with lyres, timbrels, pipes, harps being played before them. And they will be prophesying. The Spirit of the Lord will come powerfully upon you, and you will prophesy with them. And you will be charged into a different person. You will be changed into a different person. Once these signs are fulfilled, do whatever your hands finds to do, for God is with you. Go down and go down ahead of me to Gilgal, and I will surely come down to you to sacrifice burnt offerings and fellowship offerings. But you must wait 7 days until I come to you and tell you what you are to do." As Saul turned to leave Samuel, God changed Saul's heart, and all these signs were fulfilled that day. When he and his servants arrived at Gibeah, a procession of prophets met him, and the Spirit of God came powerfully upon him, and he joined in their prophesying. When all those who had formerly known him saw him prophesying with the prophets, they asked each other, "What is this that has happened to the son of Kish? Is Saul also among the prophets?" A man who lived there answered, "And who is their father?" So it became a saying, "Is Saul also among the prophets?" After, after Saul stopped prophesying, he went to the high place. Now Saul's uncle asked him and his servants, "Where have you been?" "Looking for the donkey," he said. But when we saw that they were not to be found, we went to Samuel. Saul's uncle said, "Tell me what Samuel said to you." Saul replied, "He assured us that the donkey had been found, but he did not tell his uncle what Samuel had said about the kingship." Samuel summoned the people of Israel to the Lord at Mizpah and said to them, "This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says: I brought Israel up out of Egypt. I delivered you from the power of Egypt and all the kingdoms that opposed you. But you have now rejected your God, who saves you out of all your disasters and calamities, and you have said, 'No appointed king over us.' So now present yourselves before the Lord by your tribes and clans." When Samuel had all Israel come forward by tribes, the tribe of Benjamin was taken by lot. Then he brought forward the tribe of Benjamin, clan by clan, and Matri's clan was taken. Finally, Saul, son of Kish, was taken. But when they looked for him, he was not to be found. So they inquired further of the Lord, "Has the man come here yet?" And the Lord said, "Yes, he has hidden himself among the supplies." They ran and brought him out, and as he stood among the people, he was a head taller than any of the others. Samuel said to all the people, "Do you see the man the Lord has chosen? There is no one like him among all the people." Then the people shouted, "Long live the king!" Samuel explained to the people the rights and the duties of kingship. He wrote them down on a scroll and deposited it before the Lord. Then Samuel dismissed the people to go to their homes. Saul also went to his home in Gibeah, accompanied by a violent men whose hearts God had touched. But some scoundrels said, "How can this fellow save us?" They despised him and brought him no gifts, but Saul kept silent. So people start getting jealous. Chapter 11. Nahash the Amorite went up and besieged Jabesh Gilead, and all the men of Jabesh said to him, "Make a treaty with us, and we will be subject to you." But Nahash the Amorite replied, I will make a treaty with you only on the condition that I gouge out the right eye of every one of you and so bring disgrace on all Israel. Hmm. The elders of Jabesh said to him, give us 7 days so we can send messengers throughout Israel. If no one comes to rescue us, we will surrender to you. When the messengers came to Gibeah of Saul and reported these terms to the people, they all wept aloud. Just then Saul was returning from the fields behind his oxen. He asked, what is wrong with everyone? Why are they weeping? Then they repeated to him what the men of Jabesh had said. When Saul heard these words, the Spirit of God came powerfully upon him, and he burned with anger. He took a pair of oxen, cut them into pieces, and sent the pieces by messengers throughout the Israel, proclaiming, "This is what will be done to the oxen of anyone who does not follow Samuel and Saul, or Saul and Samuel." Then the terror of the Lord fell on the people, and they came out together as one. When Saul mustered them at Bezek, the men of Israel numbered 300,000, and those of Judah 30,000. They told the messengers who had come, say to the men of Jabesh Gilead, by the time the sun is hot tomorrow, you will be rescued. When the messengers went and reported this to the men of Jabesh, they were elated. They said to the Ammonites, tomorrow we will surrender to you. You can do to us whatever you like. The next day, Saul separated his men into 3 divisions. During the last watch of the night, they broke into the camp of the Ammonites and slaughtered them until the heat of the day. Those who survived were scattered, so that no of 2 of them were left together. Then the people said to Samuel, who was it that asked, shall Saul reign over us? Turn these men over to us so that we may put them to death. But Saul said, no one will be put to death today, for this day the Lord has rescued Israel. Then Samuel said to the people, come, let us go to Gilgal and there renew the kingship. So all the people went to Gilgal and made Saul king in the presence of the Lord. There they sacrificed fellowship offerings before the Lord, and Saul and all the Israelites held a great celebration. So that's chapter 11, chapter 12. Samuel said to all Israel, I have listened to everything you said to me and have set a king over you. Now you have a king as your leader. As for me, I am old and gray. My sons are here with you. I have been your leader from my youth until this day. Here I stand, testify against me in the presence of the Lord and his anointed. Whose ox have I taken? Whose donkey have I taken? Whom have I cheated? Whom have I oppressed? From whose hand have I accepted a bribe to make me shut my eyes? If I've done any of these things, I will make it right. You have not cheated or oppressed us, they replied. You have not taken anything from anyone's hand. Samuel said to them, the Lord is witness against you, and also his anointed is witness this day, that you have not found anything in my hand. He is witnessed, they said. Then Samuel said to the people, it is the Lord who appointed Moses and Aaron and brought your ancestors up out of Egypt. Now then, stand here, because I'm going to comfort you with evidence before the Lord as to all the righteous acts performed by the Lord for you and your ancestors. After Jacob entered Egypt, they cried to the Lord for help, and the Lord sent Moses and Aaron, who brought your ancestors out of Egypt and settled there in his place. But they forgot their Lord the gods, so they sold them into the hand of Sisera, the commander of the army of Hazor, into the hands of the Philistines and the king of Moab, who fought against them. They cried out to the Lord and said, we have sinned, we have forsaken the Lord and served the Baals and the Ashtoreths. But now deliver us from the hands of our enemies, and we will serve you. Then the Lord sent Jerubbaal, Barak, Jephthah, Samuel, and he delivered you from the hands of your enemies all around you, so that you lived in safety. But when you saw that Nahash, king of Amorite, was moving against you, you said to me, no, we want a king to rule over us, even though the Lord your God was your king. Now here's the king you have chosen, the one you asked for. See, the Lord has set a king over you. If you fear the Lord and serve and obey him, and do not rebel against his commandments, and if you and the king who reign over you follow the Lord your God, good. But if you do not obey the Lord, and if you rebel against his commandments, his hands will be against you as it was against your ancestors. Now then, stand still and see this great thing the Lord is about to do before your eyes. It is not wheat harvest now. Is it not wheat harvest now? I will call on the Lord to send thunder and rain, and you will realize that an evil thing you did in the eyes of the Lord when you asked for a king. Then Samuel called on the Lord, and that same day the Lord sent thunder and rain. So all the people stood in awe of the Lord and of Samuel. The people, the people all said to Samuel, "Pray to the Lord your God for your servants, so that we will not die, for we have added to all our other sins the evil of asking for a king." "Do not be afraid," Samuel replied. "You have done all this evil, yet do not turn away from the Lord, but serve the Lord with your heart. Do not turn away after useless gods. They can do, they can do you no good, nor can they rescue you because they are useless. For the sake of his great name, the Lord will not reject his people because the Lord was pleased to make you his own. As for me, far be it from me that I should sin against the Lord by failing to pray for you, and I will teach you the way that is good and right. But be sure to fear the Lord and serve him faithfully with all your heart. Consider what great things he has done for you. Yet if you persisted in doing evil, if you persist in doing evil, both you and your king will perish." 13. 1 Samuel 13. Samuel was 30 years, Saul was 30 years old when he became king, and he reigned over Israel 42 years. Wow. 42 years. So he was 30, so 72, because he reigned 42 years and he's 30. I mean, yeah, when he became king. Saul chose 3,000 men from Israel. 2,000 were with him at Michmash and in the hill country of Bethel, and 1,000 were with Jonathan at Gibeah and Benjamin. The rest of the men he sent back to their homes. Jonathan attacked the Philistines' outposts at Gibeah, and the Philistines heard about it. Um, then Saul had the trumpet blown throughout the land and said, "Let the Hebrews hear." So all Israel heard the news. Saul has attacked the Philistines' outposts, and now Israel has been obnoxious to the Philistines, and the people were summoned to join Saul at Gilgal. Um, the Philistines assembled to fight Israel with 3,000 chariots, 6,000 charioteers, and soldiers as numerous as the sand on the seashore. They went up and camped at Michmash, east of Beth Aven. When the Israelites saw that the situation was critical, that their army was hard pressed, they hid in caves and thickets, among the rocks and pits and in cisterns. Some Hebrews even crossed the Jordan to the land of Gad and Gilead. Saul remained at Gilgal, and all the troops with him were quaking with fear. He waited 7 days, the time set by Samuel. But Samuel did not come to Gilgal, and Saul's men began to scatter. So he said, "Bring me the burnt offering and the fellowship offerings." And Saul offered up the burnt offering just as he finished making the offering. Samuel arrived, and Saul went out to greet him. "What have you done?" asked Samuel. Saul replied, "When I saw the men were scattering, and that you did not come at the set time, and that the Philistines were assembling at Michmash, I thought, now the Philistines will come down against me at Gilgal, and I have not sought the Lord's favor. So I felt compelled to offer the burnt offering." "You have done a foolish thing," Samuel said. "You have not kept the commandments of the Lord your God gave you. If you had, he would have established your kingdom over Israel for all times. But now your kingdom will not endure. The Lord has sought out a man after his own heart and appointed him ruler of his people because you have not kept the Lord's command." Then Samuel left Gilgal and went up to Gibeah in Benjamin, and Saul counted the men who were with him, and they numbered about 600. So Saul's already making mistakes here. Saul and his sons Jonathan and the men with them were staying in Gibeah in Benjamin, while the Philistines camped at Michmash. Raiding parties went out from the Philistines' camp in 3 detachments. One turned toward Ophrah in the vicinity of Shaul, another toward Beth Horon, and the third toward the borderland overlooking the valley of Zeboim, facing the wilderness. Not a blacksmith could be found in the whole land of Israel, because the Philistines said, "Otherwise the Hebrews will make swords or weapons." So all Israel went down to the Philistines to have their plow points, mattocks, axes, and sickles sharpened. The price was 2/3 of a shekel for sharpening plows, points, and mattocks, and third of a shekel for sharpening forks and axes and for repointing goads. So on the day of the battle, not a soldier with Saul and Jonathan had a sword or a spear in his hand. Only Saul and his son Jonathan had them. Um, Now a detachment of the Philistines had gone out to the pass at Michmash. Chapter 14. One day, Jonathan, son of Saul, said to his young armor bearer, "Come, let's go over to the Philistines' outpost on the other side." But he did not tell his father. Saul was standing. Saul was staying on the outskirts of Gibeah under a pomegranate tree in Migron. With him were about 600 men, among whom was Ahijah, who was wearing an ephod. He was the son of Ichabod's brother, Ahitub, son of Phinehas, the son of Eli, the Lord's priest in Shiloh. No one was aware that Jonathan had left. On each side, what? On each side of the pass, Jonathan intended to cross to reach the Philistines' outpost. To reach the Philistines' outpost was a cliff. One was called Bozez and the other Sineah. One cliff stood on the north toward Michmash, the other to the south toward Geba. Jonathan said to his young armor bearer, "Come, let's go over to the outpost of these uncircumcised men. Perhaps the Lord will act in our behalf. Nothing can hinder the Lord from saving, whether by man or by few." Whether by many or by few. Do all that you have in mind. His armor bearer said, "Go ahead, I am with you, heart and soul." Jonathan said, "Come on, then we will cross over toward them and let them see us. If they see us, wait there till we come to you. We will stay where we are and not go up to them. But if they say, 'Come to us,' we will climb up, because that will be our sign that the Lord has given them into our hands." So both of them showed themselves to the Philistines' outpost. "Look," said the Philistines, "the Hebrews are crawling out of the holes they were hiding in." The men of the outpost shouted to Jonathan and his armor bearer, "Come up to us and we will teach you a lesson." So Jonathan said to his armor bearer, "Climb up after us. The Lord has given them into the hand of Israel." Jonathan climbed up, using his hands and feet with his armor bearer right behind him. The Philistines fell before Jonathan and his armor bearer, followed and killed behind him. In that first attack, Jonathan and his armor bearer killed some 20 men in an area about half an acre. 20 men, 20 versus 2? Dang, bro. Jonathan's a man is a man of valor. Verse 15. Then panic struck the whole army. Those in the camp and field and those in the outposts, raiding parties, and the ground shook. It was a panic sent by God. Saul's lookout at Gibeah and Benjamin saw the army melting away in all directions. Then Saul said to the men who were with him, "Muster the force and see who has left us." When they did, it was Jonathan and his armor bearer who were not there. Saul said to Ahijah, "Bring the ark of God." At that time, it was the Israelites. While Saul was talking to the priest, the tumult in the Philistines' camp increased more and more. So Saul said to the priest, "Withdraw your hand." Then Saul and all his men assembled and went to battle. They fought the Philistines in total confusion, striking each man with their sword. Those Hebrews who had previously been with the Philistines had gone up with them to their camp, went over to the Israelites who were with Saul and Jonathan. When all the Israelites had hidden in all the hill country of Ephraim and heard that the Philistines were on the run, they joined the battle in hot pursuit. So on that day, the Lord saved Israel, and the battle moved on beyond Beth Aven. Now the Israelites were in distress that day, saying, "Cursed be anyone who eats food before evening comes, before I have avenged myself on my enemies." So none of his tasted food. The entire army entered the woods, and there was a honey on the ground. When they went into the woods, they saw the honey oozing out, yet no one put his hand to his mouth, because they feared the oath. But Jonathan had not heard his father had bound the people with the oath, so he reached out the end of the staff that was in his hand and dipped it in the honey. He raised his hand to his mouth, and his eyes brightened. Then one of the soldiers told him, "Your father bound the army under a strict order, saying, 'Cursed be anyone who eats food today.' That is why the men are faint." Jonathan said, "My father has made trouble for the country. See how my eyes brightened when I tasted a little of this honey. How much better it would be even if the men had eaten today some of the plunders they took from their enemies. Would not the slaughter of the Philistines have been even greater? Have been even greater?" That day, after the Israelites had struck down the Philistines from Michmash to Ajalon, they were exhausted. They pounced on the plunder and taking sheep, cattle, calves, they butchered on the ground. Wait, they butchered them on the ground and ate them together with the blood. Then someone said to Saul, "Look, the men are sinning against the Lord by eating meat that has blood in it." That they were starving. What the heck? You have broken faith, he said. Roll a large stone over here at once. Then he said, "Go out among men and tell them, each of you bring me your cattle and sheep and slaughter them here and eat them. Do not sin against the Lord by eating meat with blood still in it." So everyone brought his ox that night and slaughtered it there. Then Saul built an altar to the Lord. It was the first time he had done this. Saul said, let us go down and pursue the Philistines by night and plunder them till dawn, and let us not leave one of them alive. Um, so Saul asked God, wait, do whatever seems best to you, they replied. But the priest said, let us inquire of God here. So Saul asked God, shall I go down to pursue the Philistines? Will you give them into Israel's hands? But God did not answer that day. God did not answer him that day. That's tough. So Saul therefore said, "Come here, all you who are leaders of the army. Let us find out what sin has been committed today. As surely as the Lord who rescues Israel lives, even if the guilt lies with my son Jonathan, he must die." But not one of them said a word. Saul then said to all the Israelites, "You stand over here. I and my son will stand over here." "Do what seems best to you," they replied. Then Saul prayed to the Lord God of Israel, "Why have you not answered your servant today? If the fault is in me or my son Jonathan, respond with Urim. But if the men of Israel are at fault, respond with the Thummim." Jonathan and Saul were taken by lot, and the men were cleared. Saul said, "Cast the lot between me and Jonathan, my son." And Jonathan was taken. Wait, why? Jonathan and Saul were taken by lot, and the men were cleared. Saul said, "Cast the lot between me and Jonathan, my son." And Jonathan was taken. Then Saul said to Jonathan, "Tell me what you have done." So Jonathan told him, "I tasted a little honey with the end of my staff, and now I must die." Wait, what? Saul said, "May God deal with me, but be it ever so severely, if you do not die, Jonathan." But the men said to Saul, "Should Jonathan die, he who has brought about this great deliverance in Israel, never as surely as the Lord lives, not a hair of his head shall fall to the ground, for he did this today with God's help." So the men rescued Jonathan, and he was not put to death. He didn't even hear the thing, though. Then Saul stopped pursuing the Philistines, and they withdrew to their own land. After had assumed rule over Israel, he fought against their enemies on every side: Moab, Amorites, Edom, the kings of Zobra, and the Philistines. Whenever he turned, he inflicted punishment on them. He fought valiantly and defeated the Amalekites, delivering Israel from the hands of those who had plundered them. Saul's sons were Jonathan, Ishvi, Malchi, Shua. The name of his daughter was Merab. That of the younger was Mish, Mish, Mishal. Mishal. His wife's name was Ahaniam, daughter of Ahazmaz. The name of the commander of Saul's army was Abner. Abner, son of Ner. Ner was Saul's uncle. Saul's father Kish and Abner's father Ner were the sons of Ebal. All the days of Saul, that was bitter war with the Philistines. All the days of Saul, there was bitter war with the Philistines, and whenever Saul saw a mighty or brave man, he took him into his service. So Jonathan almost dies. That's crazy. Jonathan almost dies. Actually, let me write that down so I can come back and read it. So Jonathan almost died because okay. So First Samuel First Samuel. When did it? So it goes all the way here. Oh, Jonathan eats the honey. Oh, let's go. What is this? Chapter what? Chapter 15? Chapter 14, verse 24. 24 to, I mean, we could just keep reading. Jonathan was found in the atonement. And they started sinning. The people started sinning because they were starving. Let's just go to 47, I guess. Okay. All right, chapter 15 of First Samuel. Let's get to it. Okay, First Samuel chapter 15. Samuel said to Saul, I'm the Lord, I am the one the Lord sent to anoint you king over his people Israel. So listen now to the message from the Lord. This is what the Lord Almighty says. I will punish the Amalekites for what they did to Israel when they waylaid them as they camped up from Egypt. Now go attack the Amalekites and totally destroy them. All that belongs to them. Do not spare them. Put to death men, women, children, infants, cattle, sheep, camels, and donkeys. So we have to write that down. So totally annihilate. First Samuel 15. Verses 1, 2, 3. So Saul summoned the men and mustered them at Telaim, 200,000 foot soldiers, 10,000 from Judah. Saul went to the city of Amalek and sent an ambush in the ravine. Then he said to the Kenites, go away, leave the Amalekites, so that I do not destroy you along with them. For you showed kindness to all the Israelites when they came up out of Egypt. So the Kenites moved away from the Amalekites. Then Saul attacked the Amalekites all the way from Havilah to Shur, near the eastern border of Egypt. He took Agag, king of the Amalekites, alive, and all his people he totally destroyed with the sword. But Saul spared Agag and the best of the sheep and cattle, the fat calves and the lambs, everything that was good. These they were unwilling to destroy completely, but everything that was displeased and weak they totally destroyed. Then the word of the Lord came to Samuel, I regret that I made Saul king, because he has turned away from me and has not carried out my instructions. Samuel was angry, and he cried out to the Lord all that night. Early in the morning, Samuel got up and went to meet Saul, but he was told, Saul has gone to Carmel. Then he sent up a monument in his own honor and has turned and gone on down to Gilgal. When Samuel reached him, Saul said, the Lord bless you, I have carried out the Lord's instructions. But Samuel said, what then is this bleating of sheep in my ears? What is this lowing of cattle that I hear? Saul answered, the soldiers brought them from the Amalekites. They spared the best of the sheep and cattle to sacrifice to the Lord your God, but we totally destroyed the rest. Enough, Samuel said to Saul. Let me tell you what the Lord said to me last night. Tell me, Saul replied. Samuel said, although you were once small in your own eyes, did you not become the head of the tribes of Israel? The Lord anointed you king over Israel, and he sent you on a mission saying, go and completely destroy these wicked people, the Amalekites. Wage war against them until you have wiped them out. Why did you not obey the Lord? Why did you pounce on the plunder and do evil in the eyes of the Lord? But I did obey the Lord, Saul said. I went on the mission on the Lord assigned me. I completely destroyed the Amalekites and brought back Agag, their king. The soldiers took sheep and cattle from the plunder, the best of what was devoted to God, in order to sacrifice them to the Lord your God at Gilgal. But Samuel replied, does the Lord delight in burnt offering and sacrifices as much as in obeying the Lord? To obey is better than sacrifice, and to heed is better than the fat of rams. For rebellion is like a sin of divination, and arrogance like the evil of idolatry. Because you have rejected the word of the Lord, he has rejected you as king. Then Saul said to Samuel, I have sinned. I violated the Lord's commandments and your instructions. I was afraid of the men, so I gave it to them. Now I beg you, forgive my sin and come back with me so that I may worship the Lord. But Samuel said to him, I will not go back with you. You have rejected the word of the Lord, and the Lord has rejected you as king over Israel. As Samuel turned to leave Saul, Saul caught hold of the hem of his robe and tore it. Samuel said to him, the Lord has torn the kingdom of Israel from you today and has given it to one of your neighbors, to one better than you. He who is the glory of Israel does not lie or change his mind, for he is not a human being that he should change his mind. Saul replied, I have sinned, but please honor me because the elders of my people and before my people. I mean, please honor me before the elders of my people and before Israel. Come back with me so that I may worship the Lord your God. So Samuel went back with Saul, and Saul worshiped the Lord. Um, then Samuel said, bring me Agag, king of the Amalekites. Agag came to him in chains, and he thought, surely the bitterness of death is past. But Samuel said, as your sword has made woman childless, so your mother will be childless among women. And Samuel put Agag to death before the Lord at Gilgal. So Saul did the dirty work again. Then Samuel left for Ramah, but Saul went up to his home in Gibeah of Saul. Until the day Samuel died, he did not go to see Saul again. Though Samuel mourned for him, the Lord regretted that he had made Saul king over Israel. Man, so Saul disobeyed again. Chapter 16. The Lord said to Samuel, how long will you mourn for Saul, since I've rejected him as king over Israel? Fill your horn with oil and be your way. I'm sending you to Jesse of Bethlehem. I have chosen one of his sons to be king. But Samuel said, how can I go? If Saul hears about it, he will kill me. The Lord said, take a heifer with you and say, I have come to sacrifice to the Lord. Invite Jesse to the sacrifice, and I will show you what to do. You are to anoint for me the one I indicate. Samuel did what the Lord said. When you arrived at Bethlehem, the elders, wait, go to Bethlehem, right? Jesse of Bethlehem. Samuel did what the Lord said. When he arrived at Bethlehem, the elders of the town trembled when they met him. They asked, do you come in peace? Samuel replied, yes, in peace. I've come to sacrifice to the Lord. Consecrate yourselves and come to the sacrifice with me. Then he consecrated Jesse and his sons and invited them to the sacrifice. When they arrived, Samuel saw Eliab and thought, surely the Lord anointed stands here before the Lord. But the Lord says to Samuel, do not consider his appearance or his height, for I've rejected him. The Lord does not look at the things people look at. People look at an outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. That's a good saying. I gotta write that down. That's a bar there. 1 Samuel. Let's just do all of 15. First Samuel 16:7. And actually, I do want to go back to verse. Let's actually, it's just the whole thing. Yeah, that's a good word. Then Jesse called Abinadab and had him pass in front of Samuel. But Samuel said, the Lord has not chosen this one either. Jesse then had Shammah pass by. But Samuel said, nor has the Lord chosen this one. Jesse had 7 of his sons pass before Samuel. But Samuel said to him, the Lord has not chosen these. So he asked Jesse, are these all the sons you have? They're still the youngest, Jesse answered. He is tending the sheep. Samuel said, send for him. We will not sit down until he arrives. So he sent for him and had him brought in. He was glowing with health and had a fine appearance and handsome features. Then the Lord said, Rise and anoint him. This is the one. Then the Lord, um, then the Lord said, Rise and anoint him. This is the one. So Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed him in the presence of his brothers. And from that day on, the Spirit of the Lord came powerfully upon Samuel. No, it came upon David. The first time we hear David here. So Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed him in the presence of his brothers. And from that day on, the Spirit of the Lord came powerfully upon David. Samuel then went to Ramah. That's crazy. So it wasn't the oldest. It wasn't the second oldest. It wasn't the second oldest. It was um hold on. Ooh. Um yeah. Now the Spirit of the Lord Now the Spirit of the Lord departed from Saul, and an evil spirit from the Lord tormented him. Saul's attendant said to him, See, an evil spirit from God is tormenting you. Let our Lord command his servants here to search for someone who can play the lyre. He will play when this evil spirit from God comes to you, and you will feel better. So Saul said to his attendant, Find someone who plays well and bring him to me. One of the servants answered, I have seen a son of Jesse of Bethlehem who knows how to play the lyre. He's a brave man and a warrior. He speaks well and is a fine looking man, and the Lord is with him. Then Saul sent messengers to Jesse and said, Send me your son David who is with the sheep. So Jesse took a donkey loaded with bread, a skin of wine, and a young goat, and sent them with his son David to Saul. David came to Saul and entered his service. Saul liked him very much, and David became one of his armor bearers. Then Saul sent words to Jesse, saying, Allow David to remain in my service, for I am pleased with him. Whenever the Spirit of God came on Saul, David would take up his lyre and play. Then relief would come to Saul. He would feel better, and the evil spirit would leave him. Chapter 17, David and Goliath. Interesting story here. All right. Now the Philistines gathered their forces for war and assembled at Sokoth in Judah. They pitched camp at Ephes Dammim between Sokoth and Azekah. Saul and the Israelites assembled and camped in the valley of Elah and drew up their battle line to meet the Philistines. They're still battling the Philistines. The Philistines occupied one hill and the Israelites another, with a valley between them. A champion named Goliath, who was from Gath, came out of the Philistines' camp. His height was 6 cubits and a span. He had a bronze helmet on his head and wore a coat of scale armor of bronze weighing 5,000 shekels. On his legs he wore bronze greaves, and bronze javelin was slung on his back. His spear shaft was like a weaver's rod, and its iron point weighed 600 shekels. His shield bearer went ahead of him. So this is a big guy, big warrior. Goliath stood and shouted to the ranks of Israel, Why do you come out and line up for battle? Am I not a Philistine? And are you not servants of Saul? Choose a man and have him down to me. Have him come down to me. If he is able to fight and kill me, we will become your subjects. But if I overcome him and kill him, you will become our subjects and to serve us. Then the Philistines said, This day I defy the armies of Israel. Give me a man and let us fight each other. On hearing the Philistines' words, Saul and all Israelites were dismayed and terrified. So they're scared of this beast. Now David was the son of Ephrathite named Jesse. David was the son of an Ephrathite named Jesse, who was from Bethlehem in Judah. Jesse had 8 sons, and in Saul's time he was very old. And in Saul's time, 8 sons, and in Saul's time he was very old. In Saul's time he was very old. So Jesse's old. Jesse's 3 oldest sons had followed Saul to the war. The firstborn was Eliab, the son of the second Abinadab, the third Shammah. David was the youngest. The three oldest followed Saul, but David went back and forth from Saul to tend his father's sheep at Bethlehem. For 40 days, the Philistines came forward every morning and evening and took a stand. Now Jesse said to his son David, take this ephah of roasted grain and these 10 loaves of bread for your brothers and hurry to their camp. Take along these 10 sheets to the commander of the unit. See how your brothers are and bring back some assurance from them. They are with Saul and all the men of Israel in the valley of Elah fighting against the Philistines. Early in the morning, David left the flock in the care of his sheep, loaded up, and set out, as Jesse had directed. He reached the camp as the army was going out to its battle position, shouting the war cry. Israelite and the Philistines were drawing up their lines, facing each other. David left his things with the keeper of supplies, ran to the battle lines, and asked his brothers how they were. As he was talking with them, Goliath the Philistine, champion from Gath, stepped out from his line and shouted his usual defiance, and David heard it. Whenever the Israelites saw the man, they all fled from him in great fear. Now the Israelites had been saying, do you see how this man keeps coming out? He comes out to defy Israel. The king will give great wealth to a man who kills him. He will also give him his daughter in marriage and will exempt his family from taxes in Israel. David asked the man standing near him, what will be done for the man who kills the Philistine and removes his disgrace from Israel? Who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living God? They repeated to him what had been saying and told him, this is what will be done for the man who kills him. Man. Actually, let me write that down. That's actually 1 Samuel. They repeated to him. Then Eliab, David's older brother, heard him speaking with the men. He burned with anger at him and asked, why have you come down here? And with whom did you leave those few sheep in the wilderness? I know how conceited you are and how wicked your heart is. You come down only to watch the battle. Now what have I done, said David. Can't I speak? He then turned away to someone else and brought up the same matter, and the men answered him as before. What David said was overheard and reported to Saul, and Saul sent for him. David said to Saul, let no one lose hearts on account of this Philistine. Your servant will go and fight him. David said to Saul, let no one lose heart on account of this Philistine. Your servant will go and fight him. That's powerful, I'm not going to lie. Saul replied, you are not able to go out against this Philistine and fight him. You are only a young man, and he has been a warrior from his youth. But David said to Saul, your servant has been keeping his father's sheep. When a lion or a bear came and carried off a sheep from the flock, I went after it, struck it, and rescued a sheep from its mouth. When it turned on me, I seized it by its hair. I struck it and killed it. Your servant has killed both the lion and the bear. This uncircumcised Philistine will be like one of them because he has defied the armies of the living God. The Lord who rescued me from the paw of the lion and the paw of the bear will rescue me from the hand of this Philistine. Man, David's just dropping bars here. David is just dropping 1 Samuel 17:37. Saul said to David, go and the Lord be with you. Man, Saul is talking about being a coward. Then Saul dressed David in his own tunic. He put a cloak of armor on him and a bronze helmet on his head. David fastened on his sword over the tunic and tried walking around because he was not used to them. I cannot go in these, he said to Saul, because I'm not used to them. So he took them off. Then he took his staff in his hands, chose 5 smooth stones from the stream, put them in the pouch of his shepherd's bag, and with his sling in his hands, approached the Philistines. Here comes the epic encounter. Meanwhile, the Philistine with his shield bearer in front of him kept coming closer to David. He looked David over and saw that he was little more than a boy, glowing with health and handsome, and he despised him. He said to David, I am a dog that you come at me with sticks? And the Philistine cursed David by his God. Come here, he said. I'll give your flesh to the birds and the wild animals. Mmm. So there's some smack talk happening here. David said to the Philistines, you come against me with the sword and spear and javelin, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. 1 Samuel 17:45. That's crazy. You come with me with the sword, spear, javelin, but I come with you in the name of the Lord God Almighty. Man, this is gonna be epic here. This day, oops. This day the Lord will deliver you into my hands. I will strike you down and cut off your head. This day I will give the carcasses of the Philistines' army to this bird, to the birds and the wild animals, and the whole world will know that there is a God in Israel. All those gathered here will know that it is not by the sword or spear the Lord saves, for the battle is the Lord's, and he give all of you into our hands. And he will give all of you into our hands. As the Philistine moved closer to attack him, David ran quickly toward the battle line to meet him. Reaching into his bag and taking out a stone, he slung it and struck the Philistine on the forehead. The stone sank into his forehead and he fell face down on the ground. So David triumphed over the Philistine with a sling and a stone, without a sword in his hand, and he struck. Wait. Wait. So David triumphed over the Philistine with his sling and his stone. Without a stone in his hands, he struck down the Philistine and killed him. David ran and stood over him. He took hold of the Philistine's sword and drew it from the sheath. After he killed him, he cut off his head with the sword. After he killed him, he cut off his head with the sword. When the Philistines saw that their hero was dead, they turned and ran. The men of Israel, of Judah, they just turned and started running. When the Philistines saw their hero was dead, they turned and ran. Then the men of Israel and Judah surged forward with a shout and pursued the Philistines to the entrance of Gath and to the gates of Ekron. Their dead were strewn along the Shaaraim road to Gath and Ekron. When the Philistines returned from chasing the Philistines, they plundered their camp. David took the Philistine's head and brought it into Jerusalem. David took the Philistines' head and brought it into Jerusalem. He put the Philistines' weapon in his own tent. Imagine having that big sword. As Saul watched David going out to meet the Philistine, he said to Abner, commander of the army, Abner, whose son is that young man? Abner replied, as surely as you live, your majesty, I do not know. And the king said, find whose son this young man is. As soon as David returned from killing the Philistines, Abner took him and brought him before Saul with David, and still holding the Philistine's head. Whose son are you, young man? Asked Saul. Saul asked him. David said, I am the son of your servant Jesse of Bethlehem. What a way to put your name out there. What a way to introduce who you are, introduce yourself to the people of Israel. That's a crazy introduction. They're like, who is this guy? Alan. Sheesh. Chapter 18. After David had finished talking with Saul, Jonathan became one in spirit with David, loved him as himself. From that day, Saul kept David with him and did not let him return home to his father, to his family. And Jonathan made a covenant with David because he loved him as himself. Jonathan took off the robe he was wearing and gave it to David, along with his tunic and even his sword, his bow, and his belt. Whatever mission Saul sent him on, David was so successful that Saul gave him a high rank in the army. This pleased all the troops and Saul's officers as well. When the men were returning home after David had killed the Philistines, the women came out from all the towns of Israel to meet King Saul with singing and dancing with joyful songs and with timbrels and lyres. And they danced and they sang, Saul has slain his thousands, and David his tens of thousands. Saul was very angry, and this refrain despised him greatly. They have credited David with 10,000s, he thought, but with me only thousands. What more can he be? What more can he get but the kingdom? And from that time on, Saul kept a close eye on David. So David is just building up, man. The next day, an evil spirit from God came forcefully on Saul. He was prophesying in his house while David was playing the lyre, as he usually did. Saul had his spear in his hand, and he hurled it, saying to himself, I'll pin David to the wall. But David eluded him twice. He was prophesying. So the evil spirit allowed him to prophesy. That's crazy. Actually, let me write that down. 1 Samuel 18:10. Saul was afraid of David because the Lord was with David, but he had departed from Saul. So Saul sent David away from him and gave him commander over 1,000 men, and David led the troops in their campaigns. In everything he did, he had great success because the Lord was with him. When Saul saw how successful he was afraid of him because all Israel and Judah loved David because he led them in their campaigns. Saul said to David, here's my older daughter, Merab. I will give her to you in marriage. Only serve me bravely and fight the battles of the Lord. For Saul said to himself, I will not raise a hand against him. Let the Philistines do that. But David said to Saul, Who am I and what is my family or my clan in Israel that I should become king's son-in-law? So when the time came for Merab, Saul's daughter, to be given to David, she was given in marriage to Adriel of Mohala. Now Saul's daughter Michal was in love with David. Saul's daughter Michal was in love with David, and when they told Saul about it, he was displeased. No, he was pleased. Oh, shoot. Now Saul's daughter Michal was in love with David, and when they told Saul about it, he was pleased. I will give her to him, he thought, so that she may be a snare to him, and so that the hand of the Philistines may be against him. So Saul said to David, now you have a second opportunity to become my son-in-law. Then Saul ordered his attendants, speak to David privately and say, look, the king likes you and his attendants love you. Now become his son-in-law. They repeated these words to David, but David said, do you think it is a small matter to become the king's son-in-law? I am only a poor man and a little known. Man, David's humble right here. When Saul's servant told him what David had said, Saul replied, say to David, the king wants no other price for the bride than 100 Philistines foreskins. Than 100 Philistines foreskins to take revenge on his enemies. Saul's plans was to have David fall by the hands of the Philistines. When the attendants told David these things, he was pleased to become the king's son-in-law. So before the allotted time elapsed, David took his men with him and went out and killed 200 Philistines and brought back their foreskins. That's gross. They counted out the full number to the king so that David might become the king's son-in-law. Then Saul gave him as his daughter Michal in marriage. Ugh. That's crazy, bro. Let's do 26 to 28. When Saul realized that the Lord was with David and that his daughter Michal loved David, Saul became still more afraid of him, and he remained his enemy the rest of his days. The Philistines' commanders continued to go out to battle, and as often as they did, David met with more David met with more success than the rest of Saul's officers, and his name became well known. David is just building up, like for real. David started out just being a guy that nobody knew in the town of Bethlehem, somewhere in nowhere, attending sheep, being a shepherd. Even his brothers hated him. Even his brothers despised him. But man, like the way he's just like ranking and just going up. Um, Saul told his son Jonathan and all the attendants to kill David. Oh my goodness. But Jonathan had taken a great liking to David and warned him, my father Saul is looking for a chance to kill you. Be on your guard tomorrow morning. Go into hiding. Stay there. I will go out and stay with my father in the field where you are. I'll speak to him about you and tell you what I find out. Jonathan spoke well of David to Saul his father and said to him, let not the king do wrong to his servant David. He has not wronged you. And what he has done has benefited you greatly. He took his life in his hands when he killed the Philistines. The Lord won a great victory for all Israel, and you saw it and were glad. Why then would you do wrong to an innocent man like David by killing him for no reason? Saul listened to Jonathan and took his oath. As surely as the Lord lives, David will not be put to death. So Jonathan called David and told him the whole conversation. He brought him to Saul, and David was to Saul as before. Once more, war broke out, and David went out and fought the Philistines. He struck them with such force that they fled before him. But an evil spirit from the Lord came on Saul as he was sitting in his house with his spear in his hands. While David was playing the lyre, Saul tried to pin him to the wall with his spear, but David eluded him as Saul drove the spear into the wall. That night, David made good his escape. Saul sent men to David's house to watch it. To Saul sent men to David's house to watch him to kill him in the morning. But Michal, daughter's wife, warned him, if you do not run for your life tonight, tomorrow you'll be killed. So Michal let David down through a window, and he fled and escaped. Then Michal took an idol and laid it on the bed and covering with the garment and putting some goat hair at the head. When Saul sent the men to capture David, Michal said, he is ill. Then Saul sent the men back to see David and told them, bring him up to me in his bed so that I may kill him. But when the men entered, there was an idol in the bed, and at the head was some goat hair. Saul said to Michal, why did you deceive me like this and send my enemy away so that he escaped? Michal told him, he said to me, let me go away. Why should I kill you? Michal told him, he said to me, let me go away. Why should I kill you? When David had fled and made escape, he went to Samuel at Ramah and told him all that Saul had done to him. Then he and Samuel went to Naioth and stayed there. Word came to Saul, David is in Naioth at Ramah, so he sent men to capture him. But they saw a group of prophets prophesying with Samuel, standing there as their leader. The Spirit of God came on Saul's men, and they also prophesied. Saul was told about it, and he sent more men, and they prophesied too. Saul sent men a third time, and they also prophesied. Finally, he himself left for Ramah and went to the. Saul was told about it and sent more men to prophesy. Finally, he himself left for Ramah and went to the great cistern at Sukkah, and he asked, where are Samuel and David? Over in Naioth at Ramah, they said. So Saul went to Naioth at Ramah, but the Spirit of God came even on him, and he walked along prophesying until he came to Naioth. He stripped off his garments and he